Hey folks, it's Myron from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. Today I'm joined by a legend, Mr. Jerry Jarrett, and Adam Parsons to talk about the Jarrett Parsons Wrestling Television Network. How y'all doing today, guys?
Great, and I appreciate you having us on.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's an honor. It is an honor. Now, I just want to tell you, last night I plugged the Roku up here at my desk and got to sit down watching and was flipping through, and I came to Continental, and I grew up in Birmingham, and that's what I grew up watching, and turned it on. Gordon Soley started talking, and I was right back at my grandmother's house laying on the shag carpet on my stomach watching TV on one of those big floor TVs, and it was amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. I think that's the great thing about this is now with the internet, there's clips of matches and there's clips of shoot interviews, or you can buy shoot interviews and hear people talk about it. But you either, when you watch this, it's organized in a way that Mr. Jarrett always says, we're taking you back down memory lane. And I think that's a great way to put it. And then for the new fans, it gives them the ability to see not only what it was like in the ring, but then to be able to hear what was going on behind the scenes when you hear me and Mr. Jarrett talk, or me and Rip Rogers talk, or me and Bill Eadie talk.
Yeah, you got some huge names also involved in it. Shane Douglas too, right? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And there's a ton of content already, and y'all have just launched this thing.
Yes. And let me tell you a little bit about the genesis of Jarrett Parsons Wrestling Network. Dave Parsons called me and wanted to do an interview, and I didn't know Dave from anybody. But just he was so professional and so sincere. So I granted the interview. And then at a break during the interview, I told him about my lifetime dream of having Olympus Wrestling Star Search. And lo and behold, Dave came up with a sponsor, and we did a pilot, and then that led to the Roku network, and he and Adam have worked their butt off accumulating videos and getting us up and running.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, the same people that were going to put up the crazy money for me to buy WCW called me and said, that idea you were talking about, a wrestling portal? He said, I've got a group that I think might be interested in putting that together. So at any rate, we worked on it, and it never came to fruition. But it's funny how things go full circle, because Roku television is a chance for us to have a wrestling portal so that, with the exception of WWE, everything wrestling can be under one roof. And once you accomplish that, the possibilities are endless. We can have the Olympus Wrestling Star Search. We can plant the seeds of territory wrestling by giving the good independent promoters a platform. Once that gets established, I think these individual promoters will go to drawing more money. We could possibly form Olympus Wrestling Association and have a rebirth of the NWA under a different name. So it's endless possibilities, and I'm so thankful that I came across in my life Adam and Dave Parsons.
That is an extremely ambitious task, but I think it's the time for it right now with the internet and Roku and everything making content so accessible.
Yeah,
I agree. I just want to say thanks for the great compliment, but the one guy of this that Mr. Jarrett hasn't got to meet yet is my brother Michael. And Michael oftentimes takes a back seat because he doesn't want to be out in front of the camera doing the hosting or anything. But my brother Michael has done endless hours of work, putting in 14, 15-hour days, putting all of this together. I produced 3 or 4 of these shows, and he did the rest of the work. And like you said, there's already a lot of content on there, so you can only imagine the work that one man had to do every day to get this done. And the other person that I want to say thanks to real quick is Aaron Draven, who's a local independent wrestler from Erie, Pennsylvania, and he made all the logos for these shows. And I don't think that anybody could argue that the logos for these shows look just as good as anything that you would see on the WWE Network.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Yes, I do too.
They're very timely. They're very retro for the time period that they're representing. It makes you feel like you're watching the TV programs again. And people miss out on that these days.
Yes, well, the WWE has seen their ratings go backwards. And I told Vince McMahon when I worked with him years and years ago, I said, Vince, I'm not sure the NFL would last very long without college football. And I think you need to think about it before you try to put everybody out of business where you're the only one. Well, I thought, he's lasted this long. I guess I was wrong. But maybe not. I really think that ratings are driven by great, charismatic wrestling talent. And I know there's a lot out there. I've seen them on the independent circuit. And I think what this talent needs is a platform. And Jarrett Parsons Wrestling Network can give them that nationally, worldwide exposure.
Oh, without a doubt. We got people that have commented on the Facebook page, which anybody listening right now, you can go ahead and like us on Jarrett Parsons Wrestling TV on Facebook. We had videos on there as well. We've got people from England. A guy from England commented on there, and that was so cool to me because I didn't think anything but outside the United States. He said, I've only heard about Continental Wrestling, and I've never got to see it. He said, this is the first time I'm getting to see this. And it's amazing that someone who is in their mid-40s is now getting to see a territory that he never got to see before, and now he's only heard stories about it, and now he gets to see it.
That's wonderful. And it's really easy because I went last night, got the Roku, went to search. I got to JARR in the search box, and up there on the right-hand side, it popped up, Jarrett Parsons Wrestling. I, moved over to it, added it. It added to my channels, and now it's right there with the WWE Network. It's just as easy to operate, if not easier than the WWE Network. It's easy to get this. It's easy to find it, and it's easy to navigate. I'm navigating it right now. Got the remote in my hand, and it's all this wrestling right here in front of me, and I'm so excited.
It is exciting, and for me being 23 years old, almost 24, I'm very humble because I'm very young in the wrestling business, and I think sometimes that Mr. Jarrett is too humble. He's not outlandish and doesn't scream at the top of his lungs. He makes everybody feel just as important as he is, and I think it's very humbling to look at this and to be able to get compliments like that we're getting from you and the compliments that we're getting from all these people of just how good this is. Because we weren't sure how good it was. When you're doing something yourself, it's never good enough. But it's nice to be able to hear those compliments as a self-satisfaction and all that work that my brother and Aaron Draven and my dad and Mr. Jarrett and myself have put into it is starting to pay off.
Definitely. I'm so excited to get to see Memphis because I've never gotten to see the Memphis stuff before, and I'm a huge Cornette fan. I listened to him talk about it. I've always wanted to watch it, and this is going to be terrific.
Yeah. Well, we certainly are proud of the network, and as they say, sometime you ain't seen nothing yet. When we have the top independent promotion, their shows on every week, and hopefully later we will have Olympus Star Search and showcase the very top talent on the independent circuit.
That's exciting. That's really exciting.
I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. We go to tons of indie shows, and now here in Georgia, they're drawing 550, 650 people, and they never drew like that before. Independent wrestling is becoming super hot. People love it.
Yeah. Well, I go all the way back to the early days of the NWA.
Yes, sir.
And it seems that the American wrestling scene is pretty much there right now, because back in those days, we know that in the 80s and 90s, we would have the $50,000, $60,000 and $70,000 houses. But when I broke into the business, 600 people was a pretty good house.
Oh, yeah.
And so, everything is there to form another alliance. And I think history has told us the right way to do it. The original National Wrestling Alliance didn't do it right because they told our fans, and we did too, that we were the only kids on the block. So they would see another on cable, they'd see another program, and they'd realize Jerry Lawler wasn't really the only champion out there. But we'll do it right this time, and I've got a great excitement for the future.
Oh, it's wonderful sounding. Wonderful sounding. I like the fact that you even got shoot interviews on there. You've got the High Spots people on there too. That's great.
High Spots has been great to work with since, we've been working with them since about 2007 on the Parsons end of things. I know Mr. Jarrett's, done some shoot interviews with them and some different things over the course of time, but they're great to work with. But what I wanted to bring up is what we have termed this content with. Someone asked me, why do you have hosts in between the matches? And that was my dad, Rock Parsons' idea. That it's not really hosting. You've watched some of it, and if you haven't watched it yet, take a look at it. Like, especially with me and Mr. Jarrett on Reliving Memphis Wrestling, it's not just about our thoughts on the matches. I get into, why did you make that decision? And he'll tell a story that wasn't on TV about, well, this guy left town, that's why he had to replace him with this partner, or, this guy had a baby, and that's why he missed this, and he gives you all the backstory on it, and that's what we're calling this. It's not a shoot, but we call it shoot view, because you're getting to view it and it's a shoot, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense.
Whereas most shoot interviews is just a guy with a camera in front of him and he can only talk about it. Well, this is shoot view. We're shooting about the situation, and then you're also getting to see the situation, which is something that has really never been formatted before.
Well, I like that, because that'll allow me, when I watch a territory I'm not familiar with, to kind of know what's going on better and feel like I'm following it intimately again. It's a great opportunity.
Right. And briefly, real quick, we've only focused on really Memphis and Continental during this conversation, but fans are Southwest Wrestling. There's Vancouver Wrestling from Tomkos. There's Barry Owens has given us Portland Wrestling. Lars Anderson's given us Polynesian Pro. There's a lot of promotions we have that haven't been on there yet. Like someone today just asked for the old Buffalo Wrestling that Pedro Martinez promoted. That will be on there.
Oh.
Poplar's ICW, the IWA, Indianapolis from Dick the Bruiser, Detroit from the Sheik. So virtually any promotion that is not on the WWE network is on our network.
Wow. That's a lot of great content.
There's only a few territories that are out there that aren't owned by Vince that aren't on here, and Houston and some other ones. But out of the 23 territories in North America, excluding Mexico, from Canada and the United States, we've got every one that Vince doesn't have, other than just a handful.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you're going to continue to expand this content.
Every month, new things will be loaded. So those 4 episodes that are on there right now of Reliving Memphis Wrestling with me and Mr. Jarrett, and the 4 of me and Rip Rogers at ICW. Next month, 4 more will come on there.
Oh, well, that's awesome. So
we've shot, I think me and Mr. Jarrett did 8 weeks, and Friday we're getting ready to do 8 more weeks. So we're ahead of the ball a little bit, but we don't want to just put it all out there for you. We're going to let you be able to watch the little bit that we have, the 100 hours or so that's on there, and the next month we'll try to load another 100 hours.
Well, you don't want to overwhelm people right at first because you can't watch it all. You'll just choke on it, trying to get to everything. And it's a good idea.
And I don't want to bash the WWE Network because they're obviously very successful at what they do, but I think that's one of the mistakes that they made. But we learned from that mistake. They were the first ones to do it. Mm-hmm. So, there was no right way to do it or wrong way to do it until they did it. And they threw so much on there so fast. They have that hidden gem section, like where they just put, like Ric Flair versus Buddy Rogers is on there from 1979. But there's no backstory as to why that match happened.
Yeah,
it's just on there. And so if you weren't in the live in 1979, you didn't live in North Carolina, you have no idea why this match took place. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to make important. Like you said, you never got to see some of these territories, and now you know the backstory behind it, why it's happening, and that sort of thing. And that's something that we really wanted to make sure we did right.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's going to give people a little bit of an easier entrance into some of this stuff that it's different than than what's on television right now. This is passionate stuff that the fans really loved at the time. I went to Bout with Auditorium.
I was amazed at the compliments. Like I said earlier, because I was thinking, there's always a few people that find something wrong with everything. But there has literally not been a negative comment thrown our way. And if the fans do have any, please tell us, and that'll give us something to work towards. But as of right now, we've got a great reviews from everybody. And actually, it's got 4.5 stars on Roku. I think 10 people have reviewed it so far, and it's got 4.5 stars. So far, no one's finding anything wrong with it. So I'm very proud of that.
I might have to swing over there and review it because I got so busy watching it. I didn't even get a chance to last night. I just can't tell you how giddy I am about the Continental stuff. That was my childhood, and back when wrestling was so important that people got passionate about it, and they felt that, and they identified with the characters, and the storylines were real. Ron Fuller cutting promos is amazing.
Absolutely. And, I wanted to ask Mr. Jarrett a question because when he was just talking about, he would tell people Jerry Lawler was their only real champion, right, because that regional TV. You may not know this, but I know Mr. Jarrett will remember it. Rocky Johnson came into Memphis, and he was already an established professional wrestler in other places. But Mr. Jarrett, you brought him in there as he was only a boxer. Do you remember that? And he had to face Jerry Lawler in a boxer versus wrestler match.
Oh, absolutely. Because of the Muhammad Ali and Inoki bout, it got such national and worldwide attention. I said, well, that's people really like it. And the promoters asked me to be the promoter for the pay-per-view here, and I did. And I thought it was a terrible match, and I said, well, Lawler and somebody can do a much better job. So I got in touch with Rocky, and he came in as a boxer, and then we started him wrestling, and he became our champion. And my friendship with Rocky has lasted a lifetime. I'm so thankful for that one program.
I guess my question would be, it was very easy at that time to bring Rocky Johnson in there as just a boxer because nobody'd seen him in Memphis before. But like you just said, with cable TV, you can't do angles like that anymore because everyone can see every wrestler now. So how much did that change your booking style from pre-cable TV to cable TV?
Well, it changed it considerably as far as titles went. We started calling our titles CWA. And, we can start out, or we will start out, Olympus Wrestling Association, our world champion will be the Olympus world champion. And we won't try to say it's the world champion. So that part of it we've learned from the cable TV experience. And you could do a boxer and bring Rocky Johnson in, just advertising that he's like Danny Hodge, a great boxer and a great wrestler. Excuse me. So, I think that we can avoid the conflict, pitfalls, and I know that there are some great, great talent out there that just need a platform. If The Rock or Stone Cold had have only worked in Portland, they wouldn't have become the stars they are. Vince and the WWE gave them this worldwide platform. And now there is an alternative to the WWE platform.
Yes. And it's an easy one to get to, and it's all over the world.
Yes.
Instantaneously.
Right. Yeah. And I just want to make it known right now that we're only on Roku right now. And now, within the next couple months, there will be an expansion process. This was kind of testing the waters. We will be on Amazon Fire Stick TV. We'll get on Hulu. We'll get on all those different things. But we wanted to get on Roku first because, like you just said, it is available worldwide. They were very easy to work with. And it was a very easy thing to do when you're trying to test something like this out. So I know there are fans saying, well, I can't watch it because I don't have a Roku. Well, the Roku is only $30. Mm-hmm. So you pay $30. Not only do you get our network for free, but there's thousands of hours of movies, television shows, and all that sort of thing. So it's for $30, you're getting a pretty good bargain. But just to let the fans know, eventually, yes, it will be on other platforms because we have been asked that question a lot.
Well, my family owns 4 or 5 Rokus, and they're so simple. You get a remote and either a stick or a device that you just plug into the back of your television, connect it to your Wi-Fi or your wired network, and you're watching right off. Everything.
Yeah. I seldom watch anything except Roku because you can get permission from, in my case, Xfinity. So now on Roku, I can watch the network news or anything that's on cable, plus 1,000 other options. Mm-hmm. It's a great vehicle. And when more people find out about it, I missed the opportunity for the cable. USA Network contacted me to put Memphis Wrestling on. And in my short-sightedness, I said, no, why should I do that when I get a 87 share of the market in Memphis? I'd be competing against myself. And of course, WWE did, and the rest is history. But we're not going to miss the opportunity on streaming broadcast. That is the next cable television. Only it will exceed cable television because it's worldwide.
Yep. And most people are cutting the cords now these days. They're going with a streaming service. Everybody has internet, but not every household has cable television anymore.
That's right. And my grandchildren, which is what got me excited about this possibility. My grandchildren watch their TV on their telephone. Mm-hmm. Their programs, everything. And, my children, when I grew up, they were glued in front of the television set, watching MTV. Now the kids are staring at their telephone, and everything they watch is streaming.
And that's where to be. All the content in the world right there at your fingertips, and now we've got great wrestling on there too. So what's not to love about it?
Right.
And I'm super excited about your plans for the future of the network and what you're doing with the Olympus Wrestling and all that. That sounds fascinating.
Yes, I think it's unlimited that we have a chance now to have a wrestling portal where, you know, everybody can be on one network. And Roku is so easy to go down and find exactly what you want. So when Olympus Star Search is on, it'll just be another heading and you can go right to it, follow each show and see who ultimately wins it. Like, hopefully it'll be almost as exciting as American Idol.
Yep. Sounds like it. With wrestling too. That's the good part.
Yeah.
Right. And T, I don't know if you got to see this. We did the Olympus Wrestling pilots last April, and I'll have to put the sizzle reel on the Facebook page for the fans to look at if they've never seen it. But you want to talk about interesting content, because, you know, that's the old wrestling. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? Everyone already knows the ins and outs of the wrestling business now. Of course, most of the fans do anyway. But the great thing about that is that it made wrestling real again. It was putting two unknown independent wrestlers in the ring for 6 to 8 minutes, and then we had 3 judges judge them. It was Robert Fuller, Jim Cornette, and Kathy Dingman, Kathy was BB in the WWE, but we didn't tell the judges what to say. So that's what made it so interesting, is that, you know, there's Mr. Jarrett sitting behind the curtain, and I was hosting it, my dad sitting behind the curtain, and we have absolutely no control over the outcome of the show. And that's what I think will make that so popular, is that it's giving wrestling a realism that it has not had in 25 years.
That's exciting. Right. That's exciting. I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Thank you, Mr. Jarrett. Thank you, Adam. And I look forward to seeing what's going on with the network in the future. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and it's great to be a kid again. It's great to enjoy the kind of wrestling I grew up on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Y'all have a wonderful day. Now, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Son of a gun. Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell and Dave Brown, and we're right along ringside, all ready to kick it off for another big day.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of Championship Wrestling.